I can. There.
Okay, make a motion to open the meeting. Is there a
I'll
second? Roll call, please.
Trustee Lightgift,
Aye.
Trustee Keating,
Aye.
Trustee Stetser,
Aye.
Mayor Plummer.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
Okay, does anybody have a conflict of interest or anything to disclose regarding the agenda items? I would like to make a note that in addition to the application for a short-term retail permit, there also has been an addition of a tolling agreement between Pittsford Canal Side Properties, the Historic Preservation Board, and the Planning and Zoning Board of Appeals, and the Board of Trustees that has just been added to the agenda, as it is time sensitive in nature. Any disclosures from anybody?
I do not have any disclosures or conflicts of interest.
I do not have any disclosures or conflicts of interest.
I do not have any disclosures or conflicts of interest.
Okay, and I do not have any disclosures or conflicts of interest. With that being said, would the deputy clerk please read the open meeting compliance certification? Kristen, did
I don't.
you don't have it? Okay, well, essentially if anybody wishes to speak specifically on an agenda item, they state their name and address. They speak only to the agenda item and use decorum and politeness. That's sort of the gist. I think I got covered the basics. Okay, with that being said, let's get right to our first item. And this is an application for a short-term retail permit for the Buffalo Bills training camp. As you all know, we're excited to have this back after a couple of years of them not holding the training camp. So this is a wonderful opportunity, not just for the Bills, but also for our community to have the Bills amongst us and to be able to see the players. So this is a pretty standard. It is, I don't believe there's anything that has changed from the past. It is simply the ability for people attending that event to park at the high school and then take the buses to and from the training camp. Any questions regarding this application? Yes, Justin?
Yeah, having served on the planning board and having reviewed and voted for this application in the past, I don't see any problem with the application. I know there were some emails about this coming in front of the village board this year. And so the process is a little bit different with the emergency meeting and us issuing approval. So Mayor Plummer, I was wondering if you would speak to that and talk about why this process is changing this year.
I think it's just changing this year only to the extent that the other process may go through. But I think this is just another mechanism based on discussion with legal counsel and also with our code enforcement officer. This is another mechanism to enable this event to happen.
Okay, so my understanding was to add a little bit of detail to that the planning board, or at least some members of the planning board, feel that they do not have authority to actually review this application under the code that was adopted in 2019. Do you have an opinion on that one way or another about whether or not they have jurisdiction?
I have no opinion on this at this point. My understanding that the appeal, there is actually not a formal appeal that has been filed because that application for that appeal is incomplete. That's all I know. So again, this is a separate item. We have the capability to issue this permit to have this event go forward. And so the motion would be, excuse me, to move the application to a public hearing at a time certain on July 14th.
I understand that would be the motion. I wondered if the board would entertain, having served on the planning board and review this application in the past, I believe they do a thorough job of that review. I know that Trustee Stetzer has also served on that board, and I believe that she's probably reviewed this application in the past as well. I have no desire to circumvent that board, and I think they've done a thorough and rigorous job with review of this and other similar applications. And what I would like to see is that we make code changes so that they feel that they are able to review these applications going forward. And to be very specific, it seems that the code for commercial districts allows for the issuance of particular temporary use permits. That is not the case in a residential district where this activity is located. And I think that's been the reason that we've had to use this new code for short-term rentals for the village board to review these applications in the last
I believe it's
couple of
short-term
cases.
retail. Short-term
Short-term
retail.
retail.
Yeah,
Thank you for
yeah.
that correction. You're
Yeah,
right.
I
So
would like, oh,
to.
I'm sorry, I thought you were
hear
done. Yeah,
Nope, not yet. Thank you.
not yet.
So I would like to have our attorney review the code and possibly add a line item just to make sure that everybody is clear that the zoning board of appeals, and this is the capacity of the zoning board of appeals, I understand, that they have the ability to review temporary use permits of this sort and of the sort of Harley Day Hots going forward, just to make sure that we're not just, putting out fires by having emergency meetings for this kind of thing, and that we're not circumventing those boards. So my proposal and my motion is that we have our attorney draft a line item for residential areas to make sure that the zoning board of appeals is able to hear this kind of an application going forward.
Thank you so much for your opinion on that. I really appreciate that. First of all, I think it's important that we look at that language and the use of the word circumventing another board. We are well within our purview, according to our attorney, who has actually made the recommendation for us to proceed with the short-term retail business permit application. He has already reviewed this. Do we think the code should be amended? Absolutely. We have a wonderful football franchise that we all love and support coming into our area. It's a wonderful thing for our community, and this is time sensitive. The training camp starts in just a few weeks. So this isn't about circumventing. In fact, I would say this is simply in tandem with whatever action the Planning and Zoning Board of Appeals would be taking. This isn't circumventing a board. This is well within our purview legally as the Board of Trustees to do this. And do I agree that we maybe should revisit the code? And have we spoken with our attorney about it? Yes, we have. Thanks so much. Dan, you had
Okay.
your hand up.
I appreciate.
Excuse me, Dan has his hand up, Justin. Thank you.
So first of all, my question is, I haven't seen the application, so I'm wondering, Kristen, can you email that around? It wasn't in the packet. I know we're not actually voting on the application today. We're voting on whether to send it to a public hearing or not. And but I would like to see it at some point. If you could send it, maybe I just didn't see it in email, and it's not in the packet on the website. So hoping to just see it. And then secondly, in general, I'm in agreement with Justin that where possible, where there's precedent, actually I'm in agreement with both of you, with both Mayor Plummer and with Justin. Where there's precedent, yeah, let's stick with the board that has typically done it. And yes, let's solidify our code to make it black and white. But I also know that there's a time commitment or a time pressure here that we got to get this done. And given that it has precedent over the years, I'm comfortable hearing it. I'm comfortable at least sending it to public hearing. I also do want to say that given this is an unusual thing because of time pressure, and that is the whole reason that we're doing it, definitely would welcome input from the Planning and Zoning Board if we do indeed end up voting to hear it in the public hearing. I would really welcome their input into the process.
Thanks for that, Dan. Yep. Yes, Justin.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. And again, I'm not against the notion of us hearing the short-term retail application for the Bills event. And I I agree that that is within our legal jurisdiction to do that under the appropriate section of code. What I would just like to have done is to have the attorney also write up the single line item, I imagine, in the use list for the residential district to make sure that the code is clear going forward. So I'm adding that in conjunction with the other item, just to make sure that we're sending a message to the planning board, which has historically dealt with this application, that we would like to see them do that going forward. That's all.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement with, the attorney working on that. Obviously, a change to the code cannot be turned around that quickly prior to the Buffalo Bills event. And so I think,
Of
as
course.
you have said, going forward, let's make sure that we do address this in the code. And I think we're all in agreement with that. Absolutely.
Okay, so my motion is to have the attorney write up that line item, nothing more. And that would not be made before this event. I understand that subsequently we would vote for to send this to public hearing. But for right now, I would like to have Jeff write up that line item for the residential use district to clear up this code confusion. That's all. And then we
Great.
can move on to the Bills event.
Okay. Yes, Renee.
I have two questions. Justin, would you, I'm in agreement with everything that has been said here. This is time sensitive. This is something that's important to our community. We know this isn't a new application. And we need to fix the code. This did come before me when I was part of the board, the planning board. So Justin, do you want to see this section along with all the other changes we're trying to make? Because I know it's a big process to make one single change at a time to our code. So I had that question. And then the other question was, is the planning board, do they have any objections to us doing this? Because it sounds like they're saying we can't adjudicate this under our code. Therefore, it is up to the trustees to do it. I just wanted to make sure that we weren't causing any conflict there.
It's my understanding that the planning board is going to be reviewing the certification that has been issued by our code enforcement officer, and I believe that's going to be next week. Steve, it's Kristen, am I correct? That's next week?
Yes, it's July 6th.
Okay, so, regardless, even if we go set a public hearing, they can review that and move forward.
And we would cancel it if we need
Yeah,
to.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So
Okay.
I think, I think we're all kind of on the same page. We're just adding in a few more things, that's all. So I would
And then
entertain,
But the second,
oh, I'm sorry, you had a second.
yeah, the
question.
second piece of that was just understanding what, because if Justin is going to propose that in the motion, I just wanted to understand what the process would be.
Well, shouldn't we
Right,
add it into our list of
the
the
motion
code?
that I made, yes, the motion that I made is that Jeff would draft this line item so that we would have this with all the other code changes. And again, I
With
believe
all
it's
the
just
other.
one
Okay.
item. Because I feel like there may be hard feelings between the zoning board of appeals and our board. I feel like, we've had this pattern of doing this for a few different applications now, and I don't want to be taking away things that were previously in their domain when they're doing a great job with it. So
Yeah, like
that's why I
what?
want to get this going.
Give me a bunch of examples of times that we have circumvented the PZBA. You just
Well,
said
Harlan-
we've done this a bunch of times. I'd love to have a
We've
refresher
started
on
to do that at least with Harley Hots as well. And I think with the Christmas tree application,
Christmas
I'm not
tree,
sure
yeah.
if that was.
We need to fix it. I agree. So
Right.
you're basically saying this is on our radar. We've got it on that list of things, but you just want to make it a little more official to send, like we're having Jeff actually write it up rather than putting it in our workshop as a point of
Yeah.
discussion. We're actually having him write it up.
That's all. Yeah. And
Okay,
I think
great.
that would just allow us to have something to vote on. And also, if it doesn't work out for the ZBA for some reason, they can provide input, but I think it's a one-line change, hopefully.
Got it. Okay, so then,
Thank you.
if I'm understanding everybody, I would entertain a motion then to move to public hearing on July 14th.
Hey,
At time.
point of order.
Excuse me one second. I am speaking.
Point of order.
Point of order for me. And
Mayor Plummer,
move the
I am allowed to
short-term
call a point
retail
of order
permit
and
to
we should
public hearing.
decide.
Please do not talk over me, please. Please listen to my motion and then you can amend it if you would like. To move the motion, to move the short-term retail permit application to public hearing and further, at July 14th at a time certain, and we can come up with that. And in addition to direct our attorney to write the line in code to address the issue as stated by trustee Lightgeb. It is a dual motion.
Point of order.
Yes,
I already made a motion. There was a motion on the floor for a part of the motion that you then issued. I have
I
no
didn't
problem
understand you
with
had made it
your
as a motion.
suggestion. I have no problem with your suggestion. I would just make the point that I already made a motion. I would like to vote on that first and then vote on the bills to
okay,
keep things
okay,
cleaner.
let's do it let's do it your way. You bet, absolutely. Okay, so there's a motion to direct the attorney, am I correct in that? To
Yes,
revise the code appropriately as you
I-
had indicated earlier. Okay, that is
I don't,
the,
I don't want to
separate motion?
I don't want to second it because I think if we just let it die, then we could have Elisa's motion, which covers both of the topics.
Or have Justin amend his.
Or
either
have
way,
Justin
fine.
amend.
Yeah,
Either
either
way.
way, we just want one motion that has both
Yeah.
of them in it. That's what I would propose to. Or
just,
you want separate? Okay.
I feel like these are two separate things and I feel like it would be better in general to have two motions, one for revising the code or drafting a revision of the code.
Okay,
and a
you
second
do
one
want two
for the
separate.
Bill's proposal. I don't see why the code changes are tied to the consideration of short-term retail application.
I'm fine with that too. I just, when I
either
thought
way,
you-
I just want
thought
to
you
get
meant
business
to it.
done for our
include
village.
it.
So either
Okay.
way,
I will
Either
second
way.
Justin's motion.
here we go. Thank you. Okay. Roll call, please.
Trustee Lightgib,
Aye.
trustee Keating,
Aye.
trustee Stetser,
Aye.
Mayor Plummer,
Aye.
motion passes.
Okay, does anybody want to make a motion to? or second
I'll make a
motion?
motion to,
There we go. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to hold a public hearing on July 14,
19, it's
19.
19.
Excuse me. Yeah, 19.
on July 19 to send the application for the Buffalo Bills parking to the Board of Trustees to be heard on July 19.
Short-term
second the motion.
retail permit. It would be known as the short-term retail permit, and we do need a time certain. Anybody have a specific time, on the 19th? Do we want to keep it at 6 or 6:30? Does that work?
So we don't have enough time to put it on our regular meeting that week
No,
before.
no.
Okay. I'm out of town, so I won't be able to be there, but I could, if it's just a quick hearing online, I could, but I won't be there in person.
Okay,
I can't do it till nighttime, till
Okay.
after 6:30.
okay, so should we say, what is 6:30 or 6:45? What works?
6:30.
6:30, okay, time certain 6:30 as part of that motion. Okay, we have a motion on the table. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Lightgib,
Aye.
trustee Keating,
Aye.
trustee Stetser,
Aye.
Mayor Plummer.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, next up, we have just received, just been finished, the tolling agreement. This is, as I mentioned earlier, this is an agreement between Pittsburgh Canal Side Properties and all three of our boards. So that would be the Historic Preservation Board, our Board of Trustees, and also the Planning and Zoning Board of Appeals. This is a fairly standard agreement, and we have used tolling agreements in the past. And I don't know if you had time to review it. We
Yeah.
could adjourn for 5 minutes if you'd like, so you could review it if you would like. What this is just an agreement between all parties that while the local waterfront revitalization plan is under review and appeal, that there will be no litigation between any of the parties. So it is essentially a protective mechanism, and it's kind of a breather saying, let's all move forward with this process, knowing that no one's going to be suing.
Yeah, so one, there is a typo in it that I will want to talk about, but I do want to go a little further on your definition of what this agreement is. So
Okay.
the way I read it and the way I understand it is to serve to avoid litigation. Because by law, PCP has 30 days after the LWRP decision to instigate litigation. What this says is that everybody agrees to extend that into December of 2022 to give some time to the process to maybe avoid litigation. Because if we don't do this, they're about to run out of time and I would guess would certainly sue to keep it going. So this just buys everybody some time to hopefully solve it without litigation. You left that point out and it was quite important. Now,
Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you.
the other points I want to make, there is a typo in it. I don't think it dramatically affects things, but I do want to talk about it.
Can you cite where that is, please?
Yeah, that's what I was doing, Elisa. So in the recitals paragraph, which is the second paragraph, it's the last sentence, and I'm going to read the whole last sentence. As the statute, do we do this in an attorney-client, or do we do this in public? It feels like we can do this in public. It doesn't. There are no trade secrets going on here. Okay.
No.
As the statute of limitations relevant to planning boards is 30 days, but there are alternatives to litigation, including but not limited to seeking approval from another board under code section 121-5H1. The parties wish into this agreement. I just think there's a missing word there. The
Enter.
parties wish to enter. I don't think it negatively changes it. I think the tenor of the whole thing covers everything, but there is a typo.
No, thank you.
So I don't know whether we
Yeah.
can add that and then initial it and then have Mindy, because Mindy has already signed it,
Yeah,
and have her sign it as well. But I want to do everything by the book if we can.
Mhm.
But I also recognize we're up against the clock.
mhm.
So, yeah, that's my biggest comment.
Thank you. Good catch. I think what we certainly could do would be to entertain the motion to approve the agreement as amended by trustee Keating. And with recirculating it back to the other parties as well. Mindy may just want to initial that as well. I
Yeah.
hear what you're saying.
Now,
Yeah,
I'm not a lawyer, so I think
Yeah.
that's what the word should be.
yeah, I would think so too. Jeff could not be at this meeting. He's in court this morning. Otherwise he would have been here. Or I'm sorry, Dan Spitzer, that's what I meant to say, Dan.
So to the other trustees who said that they didn't have time to read this, do you guys want to break for 5 minutes and read it? It's 4 pages. It is more or less in English.
I wouldn't feel comfortable voting if I couldn't look it over first.
Sure. So would someone like to make a motion to adjourn for 5 minutes?
I'll make a motion to adjourn for 5 minutes, coming back at 9:05 a.m.
Okay, is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Trustee Lightgib,
Aye.
trustee Keating,
Aye.
trustee Stetser,
Aye.
Mayor Plummer.
Aye. Okay, the meeting is adjourned until 9:05. Please stop the recording. Thank you.
Thank you.
I make a motion, motion to open the meeting. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Don't have an exact date, Dorothy.
Okay, roll call,
We do
please.
know
Trustee
we've
Lightgib,
reached out.
Aye.
They should be paid soon.
trustee Keating,
Aye.
trustee Stetser,
Aye.
Mayor Plummer.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, we adjourned to, just had a quick review of the tolling agreement. We're getting some
Hold on,
background noise.
Kristen, can you mute?
Yep.
Oh,
Thanks.
Thanks. Yeah, to just take a minute to review the tolling agreement. And are there any questions about that or any further discussion? Also, Dan, thanks for picking up that typo. That's helpful.
I have one thing, but it can be after we vote. It's a process thing, not a
Okay.
particular thing.
Yeah, okay. Oh, yes,
I-
Justin?
Just to clarify, so we have the attorney for the planning board's signature on here. Has the planning board voted to enter into this agreement? I assume that's what the attorney's signature for the planning board meant. I just
Yeah,
wanted to
I
clarify
I
they
did-
voted on it.
Yeah, I think they directed their attorney to do so. She wouldn't just sign it unilaterally. She would have to receive direction from the board. Yeah. Any other? Yes.
I just, my concern here is that I did have some legal questions on the agreement, and having only received this half an hour before the meeting didn't really allow me time to review it before the recess for 5 minutes here. There's a little bit to digest. I'd like to discuss some of the elements of the agreement and the strategy behind it with our attorney briefly. I don't think that it would take long, but at this point, I don't feel that I can vote on the agreement in front of us.
Yeah, we don't have another meeting so-
Yeah,
and the clock runs out. So, yeah,
yeah,
I'll make
Yeah,
a
so-
motion to approve the agreement as amended.
is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, roll call, please.
I do, back to Justin's point and what Dan just said,
Mhm.
the clock is gonna run out. If we don't sign this, what happens? That means we open ourselves up to, it's
They'll
gonna
proceed
expire.
with litigation.
I mean, they
yeah.
could, doesn't mean they will, but,
Yeah, they could. Okay, we'll put it in that category of yes, they could. And the tolling agreements have been used over the many past years of 12 years. The tolling agreements is fairly standard, have been used. I think I want to say on at least 4 other occasions that I can think of. As I did try to text our attorney. I think he's either in court or in a meeting, so because he has not responded to see if he could join us, if in fact there were additional questions. But again, this was added to the agenda because it is time sensitive. And the attorney for the Planning and Zoning Board has already signed, and it will be going to the attorney as well for the Historic Preservation Board. And all 3 attorneys have worked on this agreement with the attorney for the applicant as well. Yeah. So we have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Trustee Lightgib,
Abstain.
trustee Keating,
Aye.
trustee Stetser,
I,
Mayor Plummer,
Aye.
motion carries.
Okay, so the other issue that I had,
Mhm.
I'm not happy with the fact that we got this on the 30th of June. We received an email, I received a direct email from our council on June 9th, literally 3 weeks ago today, saying, we've got to do this. The clock is running out on this and it's important. And we got it literally 3 weeks later. So I don't know where the breakdown was in that, but it wasn't good. And I recognize that this is pretty standard and it feels like pretty boilerplate language. So it shouldn't have been hard. And it created a pressure in us that we didn't need. I've also had some trouble getting, I think you guys are well aware of this, getting response on a request that we made of our lead counsel in this from Hodgson Russ. I've been requesting the same thing from a trustees meeting for months and really haven't received any of the work. So my general feeling is for basic tactical things like this that are blocking and tackling and are basic, I would much rather have those go to either Mindy or Jeff Turner. We just need it done, and I'm not seeing great work out of our attorney. So that's just my general feeling on it. I don't think we need to take any action. I'm certainly going to send a note to our attorney, basically saying what I just said, that this should not have taken 3 weeks, and it caused undue stress on us, and we want to do this thing right. We're paying them a lot of money. We've paid them a lot of money over the years. And I want to make sure that there's better execution on their end.
Yeah. Oh, yes, Renee.
yeah, I agree. I mean, the fact that we have a trustee who wanted to be able to ask questions, we were under a super time constraint here. And I didn't get time to review it before our meeting. We got it ourselves 30 minutes before. So I know this is a normal thing. We have voted on these things before. I've seen these before being on the planning board. So I just 30 minutes before doesn't allow us enough time. So I want to support what Trustee Lightgib was saying, and I hope he can get his questions answered, even though we did put this thing forward and voted on it this time. But if there's a way to get his questions answered, that would be great.
Yeah, I think, everybody's raising really valid points. I do think, that we need to circle back with Attorney Spitzer. Because there were other attorneys involved, I'm not sure where he was in that pipeline of producing the document. But that's something that I agree, we should address. Why was it initiated weeks ago and here it just shows up? So here we are. So without any further business before the board, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Lightgib,
Aye.
Trustee Keating,
Aye.
Trustee Stetser,
Aye.
Mayor Plummer,
Aye.
motion passes.
Okay,
Thanks,
thanks,
all.
everybody.
Thanks, Kristen.
Thank
Thank you. Everybody have a good holiday. Take care.
Thanks.